Welcome back to another episode of Let's Have a Sip. I'm your host, Sean Drinks.
We're calling it already?
I mean, who the fuck's gonna listen to me for 2 hours?
It's us.
It is us. You know what? We're gonna keep going.
Why not? You know?
We're gonna keep going. You know what? Encore, baby. So, I need to work on my laugh, but yeah. So I figured that would be good. Got to get some good laughs going. So,
Great.
Okay, so we haven't actually touched on too much of like what it is that you do outside of TikTok and social media and all that good stuff. So is this your full-time job?
Yeah.
That is dope.
That's what I do.
That is so dope.
Yeah, it took a long time. Obviously, I've been making YouTube videos since 2013.
Okay.
And yeah, like nothing serious. It was just like for fun, like for the love of it. And then I realized this like could be a job, and like I kind of took it more serious. And then TikTok came around, and then I was doing that I did TikTok since, like I said, 2019, and then I went crazy for a year, all during pandemic, and then I took 2021 off essentially.
Yeah.
And then I just came back, and then I just went hard on it again, and then I got signed to an agency, and I will urge any content creator who wants to make videos and do it for a living to get a manager as quick as you possibly can, because they will help you get money that you did not know you were leaving on the table, which was a huge thing for me, and being able to make it like an actual like full-time like job and a full-time thing that I actually do. So it was really cool, man. It's literally just what I do now. So I'll just be in this little studio room that I have right now, and I'll just go crazy. I'm saving up for my own place right now, because I had my own place, and then my aunt, she has some stuff going on, so I'm living with them right now to help out. And then I could go get an apartment right now, but money-wise, it wouldn't be the smartest thing to do. And also, I don't really have a problem with like helping out and everything. And they're letting me stay here for free. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'll be here. Whatever you need help with, you just let me know, and I'm there.
Yeah. No, take advantage of that situation, my man. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, I'm sure. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's cool as fuck, man. I love that. So that's cool. Shit, you've been doing this for close to a decade now, and that's it's cool to. And again, like I was saying earlier, I love seeing people succeed, and because as I've gotten older, everyone to a degree can be jealous.
Yeah.
They will compare themselves to others, and that's just how it is, But
the nature of humanity.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've tried not to do too much with what it is that I'm doing, because I have right now I have a very small following. It's nothing too crazy. It's a very specific type of niche. Do
you have a TikTok page, by the way? Because I meant to ask you this before.
Yeah, I do. It's the same exact handle that I have on Instagram. It's just called Sean Drinks. That's SHAWNDRINKZ, because apparently S was taken. So I don't know. So
you post like clips on there too, right?
So I'm a little bit more active on Instagram. I should be a little bit more active on TikTok as well. But the conspiracy theory in me is like, goddamn, the fucking Chinese are watching me right now. So. But no, I need to be a little bit more active on there, because I actually do get a lot more traffic on TikTok versus Instagram. I don't know what it is.
How many followers do you have
on TikTok or Instagram?
TikTok.
Oh shit, fucking like 100 maybe. So it's nothing crazy, but I have a little bit more on Instagram, probably like 337, something like that, and it's been fun, man. I've been doing this podcast for probably like 6 months or so, and it's interesting kind of how I started, because like whenever I moved to Texas, my work schedule outside of the podcast, before I started it, was Tuesday through Saturday. So like my time, as well as my fiance's time, Courtney, would be on Sunday, and we would kind of go out, get some brunch, whatever, and then come back to the house, chill. Oh hell yeah, brunch is my jam. Brunch is my jam.
Incredibly underrated, bro. Incredibly underrated.
So So Monday was like my time to kind of head to myself. I would go bourbon hunting. I'd come back home and I would be a couch potato and I would watch Peacock.
You heard the man.
Yeah.
You heard the man.
I would watch Peacock, and I love, as much as I love Peacock, I need to get some exercise, and I need to do something outside of sitting on the couch. So I decided I'm going to start a podcast, and I'm going to incorporate whiskey into it. And I've been learning with each episode that I've been doing. It's funny to look back at some of the episodes. I haven't done this very long, but looking at some of the episodes that I first started, I'm very clunky and robotic and stuff like that. And, I've grown a lot since I've started it. And it's been fun. I love it.
It takes time. It takes a lot of time to get comfortable behind the camera. Like you said, I've almost been doing this for a decade, and it wasn't until I turned like 19 years old. No, I wouldn't even say that, bro. It was like when I turned like 20, 21, that's when I was like, oh yeah, I could do this all day. Just like Captain America. But my thing is, I have like 5 different questions for you right now, and it's about your TikTok thing.
Let's get them. Okay. Yeah.
Because I know the analytics very well, and I know the algorithm very well as well. So I'm just curious about like a lot of things. So how often do you post?
It's interesting that you bring that up. So I tried to, and and it's probably just me being lazy.
Yeah.
At one point, I would try to post at least 2 to 3 times a day, and then I would just stop, and then I would put more focus onto Instagram, and I would post at least 2 things a day, and maybe like a story or 2, whatever. I haven't posted on TikTok for, I don't know, maybe about 2 weeks or so, maybe a little bit longer. So it's just, yeah, that's about how often that I post on TikTok. So,
okay, for sure. And if this ended up becoming your job, would you be happy about that?
Oh my God, 100%. Yes.
Right. Okay. Why'd you stop? Or is just time?
You make time. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you do. You make time for what's important. Not saying that.
Yes, King. Yes.
So it's not saying that it wasn't important, but I just being lazy. That's all that it was. So.
And I feel you. I do the same thing all the time. Because I feel like, realistically speaking, because there's a lot of, I might say a bunch of words that sound like nothing, but I promise it means something. There's a lot of, I would say, podcast channels that go through different like spells in which they kind of will post a lot, and then they'll see the algorithm working really well in their favor, and then they kind of fall off from that regard. But to me, it's like if you have a podcast and you're not using TikTok to its fullest extent, it's like you're wasting so much time and you're losing so much money, because people love to, like, if it's just like the quick clips, like 45 seconds, like whatever, that you just chop out of like a podcast, you just throw it up real quick. It's like a conversation like that, because people just like to see people just talk to each other for whatever reason. I'm guilty of it too. I don't know why. It's just fun, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be really cool. That'd be like a really tight thing to do also. And if you accompany that with the Instagram like things that you're doing, like the 2 a day with a couple story posts, dog.
Mm-hmm.
This, like, if you were to take it seriously and like did it like 3 times a day until the end of this year, and it's gonna sound wild, you would have 50,000 followers, and I'm not exaggerating. And on top of that, I would repost every single one of your videos. I have no problem with doing that. So actually, like I said, I actually like this podcast, and I've no disrespect to the prior podcasts I've been on as well, by the way. But like I said, this was just like, it's just a lot more chill. That's why like when we hit like an hour, I was like, why are we done? Like I'm having a ball. Like, why not? Let's just keep going. And then but like other podcasts, it's like I'm answering all these questions. I'm just like, all right, cool, appreciate you. Can I get out of here now?
Yeah.
And that's not the case with like this one. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like if it was like, if you like really went balls to the wall, just said F it and just said, I'm just gonna try this and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Obviously still go to work and stuff like that. Like, don't just quit your job. But
yeah,
like,
maybe
wait a little while on that.
Yeah, no, I'm not just gonna. That would be a a very fucking big risk, and my fiance would probably fucking chop my fucking nutsack off. But
I did it.
but
I did it, and I don't suggest anybody ever do it
it's
because I got
yeah,
lucky in a lot of senses. I quit my whole job and left school, and I was just doing this, and thank God. But I don't ever suggest that route.
Everyone's time is different. Everyone's situations are different as well, and again, that comes back to keeping up with the Joneses and comparing people and stuff like that. And I fucking love what you're doing, and it's great to see that you're so young. And you said you're 22, correct?
I'm 22 years old. Yeah,
22, fucking killing it. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, just fucking keep staying hungry. That's all I can really tell you. But anyways, so.
I have a question if you want to think.
Let's go.
It's really it's again has nothing to do with me, but I'm curious to hear this because I'm gonna ask you this question and then I want you to try to guess what my answer is because I don't think you're gonna be able to get it.
Let's find out, ladies and gentlemen.
Who's your favorite superhero? We were talking about it, and I was like, I was like, I'm curious. Like, I want to know what bro's favorite superhero is.
Yeah, I got you. So now he could be considered a superhero. I wouldn't necessarily consider him an anti-hero, but he is a rogue warrior, essentially. So, and I can already tell by the way you were looking up is like, this is probably not going to be the person for you. So,
no, I was thinking Deadpool for a second because you said it's a rogue warrior anti-hero.
To a degree, he does work with certain people, and this is relevant for Deadpool. If you saw fucking Ryan Reynolds recently,
yes,
yeah.
Okay, I know, no. We're gonna do. I don't want you to tell me. I have to guess it. Okay, is it the Punisher?
Close, but no. Damn it. Come on, think. Again, he maybe can be considered an anti-hero, but he probably most likely isn't because he still technically works with a team of.
Do you kind of look like his brother in the movies?
Probably.
Wolverine.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Because you kind of look like Sabretooth. So I was like, do you kind of look like his brother? Okay, yeah. All right. No, that's a phenomenal pick.
And the beard. It's the beard.
I'll definitely. Yeah, I see the semi-anti-hero, and I get it. That's fact. 100%.
Dude, Wolverine is a fucking jam. Whenever I saw Ryan, I don't know if you hopefully you saw it.
Yes. I saw it. I was freaking out. I was screaming like a little schoolgirl. My feet were like waving in the air and shit. I was so happy.
Because I thought Logan was going to be Hugh Jackman's. If I'm not mistaken, that was his last role as of now as Wolverine. So,
but they explained it well. They explained it well, which made me happy of them saying like, because they made a follow-up video of like, how's this going to affect Logan, and then they're like, this happens before Logan ever takes place. Yeah. So it's not going to affect it, and I was happy because Logan is like, I love my superhero movies, and for me, it's Logan's my number one superhero movie ever, and then Infinity War second, and then Endgame's third. But
I loved Infinity Wars, but I wish that Marvel owned Silver Surfer.
Oh my god! Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
He was the main. He was the main character. If you know anything about the
comic, he was like the main part of it.
Yes.
No. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. All right. So this is where things are gonna get hard for you. All right.
All right. Bring it on.
You have to guess my favorite superhero. I'm gonna give you a couple of hints because he's not mainstream in any way, shape, or form. Right.
All right.
He had a TV show. TV show's intro was just god tier, right?
Well, it was just what?
It was god tier, just amazing. Was not as good as the old X-Men. That not as good as that one. Not as good as that, but it's up there. I got to give you vague hints because I feel like you know enough about like superheroes in general that you probably be able to get it, even like this one. Okay. In a specific, did you ever watch Justice League?
Yeah. The movie, right? Yeah.
The cartoon.
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay. So in a specific episode of Justice League, this might give it away, maybe. I'm hoping it doesn't. In a specific episode of the Justice League, he was in this episode, and they brought him, and it was when Terry from Batman Beyond was in this episode as well.
Oh.
And it was a very, very, very big deal. And we're dealing with old Bruce Wayne, all this other stuff. I think it was Hal Jordan was the Green Lantern in this episode and not John Stewart, because Justice League was normally John Stewart, but I think it was Hal Jordan in this one. For the people watching at home, I know we're probably nerding out right now, but this is very important to me. But there's that. Those are the 3 hints. He's a black dude. He is. And he was like the first instance like of me growing up where I was like, that I was seeing, other than John Stewart, where I was seeing like a black dude, and I was like, yo, we got a superhero. And he was in high school, and his best friend's a white dude. He's blonde.
Fuck, man. The only person I can think about is not even in the DC universe. It's fucking the Falcon.
Oh my god. I thought you were gonna pick it off just now.
I know. Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Okay, all right. I'll say he's in DC, but he's not, if that makes any sense. He's in DC, but technically he's not.
God, the only thing, like, what's coming to my mind right now is, so if you you're a lot younger than me, but if you know anything about the comics, at one point, I want to say this is the mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in that area. DC and Marvel did a crossover where it was Marvel versus DC. I don't think the character was around at that point, but fuck, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name. God damn it.
He has dreads.
Oh, fucking A. I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't remember his fucking name though. And you're so right. He's not fucking mainstream
at all. His power is electricity.
Yeah. What the static? Yes.
Static Shock. Yeah. Static Shock is by far all-time favorite superhero of all time.
Yeah.
By far. It's a little bit of a little deeper cut, but I love this show, and I would watch it every single weekend because I wasn't allowed to watch TV during the week, so I had school, blah, blah, whatever. But Static Shock, bro, come on. I mean, he was that Virgil. That's my guy. Come on. He was just cool. He was super cool.
So when you said deep cuts, that so you know who Kevin Smith is, right?
Of course.
Okay, Mark Bernard. You know Mark Bernardin.
Of course. Come on.
Okay.
Of course.
So the show has since been, the name has been changed, but it was Fat Man on Batman, and then it's called Fat Man Beyond. Dude,
Fat Man Beyond, baby.
Have you ever been to so for everyone that does not know, so Kevin Smith, Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Dogma, Chasing Amy, the worst movie of all time, Tusk. Sorry, Kevin, but that movie sucked.
Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah. But
Apple did the new update where you can like cycle through your home screens.
Really?
They did a new update. I kid you not. I have literally 40 different home screens set right now. And I want you to look at the one that just came up. I kid you. It's Static Shock. I kid you not. That's freaky. Because like, watch. I'll literally close my phone and open it.
Oh!
That's Billie Eilish. But see, Leonardo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I swear that I had to cut you off for that because that was insane. Insane that we were just talking about that. All right, sorry. Continue. Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that was actually pretty fucking creepy, and I love it.
That's wild, right?
So Kevin Smith, Mark Bernardin, they have a podcast called now Fat Man Beyond, which is at Scum and Villainy Cantina on Hollywood Boulevard. Have you ever been there?
No.
Okay. I thought it would be so cool to kind of see that live. And dude, Kevin Smith just dropped. I think you can watch it. You can stream it somewhere. I don't know where. I'm assuming Amazon Prime. Maybe it's a different streaming application or something. But Clerks 3 came out recently. So if you're a fan of Clerks or anything like that, that just dropped, and I need to watch that. I need to watch that. So, dude, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is hands down my favorite movie of all
It's
time.
amazing.
Yeah, it's so goofy and it just fits my personality perfectly. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's a ball. It's a ball. So I got a couple questions for you now, right?
Keep them rolling.
That's what I'm saying, because I could do this podcast all day long. Okay. Are you an anime guy?
So I wouldn't consider myself anime now, but I did grow up, watching Trigun, Dragon Ball Z, Samurai Deeper Kyo, Rurouni Kenshin, Naruto, fucking.
Oh yes.
I mean, fucking Neon Genesis, Evangelion. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I can go on and on. So
absolutely. Okay, I like that. Are you a Star Wars guy?
I like Star Wars. I don't claim to be a super fan or anything like that, but I do enjoy the movies.
That's all I had to hear. That's all I like to hear, man. Because both of those, I'm a very big anime guy, very big. And Star Wars is I would say probably like in my caring, I'd probably be like anime's number one, then Marvel, and then Star Wars is third.
Okay.
I love Star Wars so much. I have a lightsaber somewhere around here. I don't know where it went, but it's somewhere around here. I have Darth Maul's lightsaber somewhere around here.
Oh, hell yeah! That's my he's my Darth Maul. That's my fucking favorite.
He's so cool, bro. He's so freaking cool.
Yes.
Hey man, so now we're getting deep into the podcast. You know what I'm saying? This is the point where we see how good you are at your job, man. Because we've clearly been through all the questions that you planned on asking.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I want to see you in your peak form.
All right.
What we got going on here?
I'm getting ready to turn Super Saiyan. Let's go.
Oh, that's what I like to hear. I'm trying to see it. Fun fact: I actually dyed my hair blonde just so I could look like a Super Saiyan once.
Oh no shit!
I'm dead serious.
So it's funny that you bring that up. I kind of did something similar. I wouldn't call it dyeing, but like this was whenever I was in middle school. This was like prime fucking Dragon Ball Z for me.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball GT was like just coming around the block, and that was my shit. At that point, I was watching the shit and fucking it was dubbed, and they fucking cussed in the subtitles and shit like that.
Yeah.
I took a lemon, went outside, and fucking squirted that shit all in my hair, and it turned yellow while I sat out in the sun. I thought it was a fucking Super Saiyan. Yeah. I didn't actually dye my hair full yellow, but I was like, I'm gonna fucking put a lemon juice in my hair, and it worked. You never heard about that?
No, I've heard of people using like peroxide, like hydrogen peroxide. And people watching, please do not do that. But I've heard of a couple. Please don't. I've heard of a couple people doing that, and it worked. But a lemon. I've never heard of that. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's probably a terrible idea, but I do remember it working. It didn't last long, but I was like outside, charging up, and I thought I was getting ready to do a fucking like Kamehameha on someone. It was awesome. No, dude. I mean, that shit was so fun. So okay, so this reminds me. So the original PlayStation.
Yes. The PS1, like the OG.
Exactly. PlayStation 1. So growing up, there was a store that was in Metairie or Kenner. It's cities outside of New Orleans. And there was a mall, and they had a store inside called Game Trader. I remember that they would sell some off the wall shit. Back then, it was fucking crazy. Just box sets of. Do you remember the VHS? Well, do you know? I don't know if you remember these, but do you know the VHS? I'm thinking you're like my fucking age, but do you remember the VHS tapes of Dragon Ball Z where you can make like puzzles and shit like that?
I only know because my brothers had them. My brothers are both. My oldest brother is going to turn 32 in December because they're both my half brothers. So
okay,
they've been with me since I was born. So my oldest one's 32 and the other one's 31. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So this was the place that had like the shit that you could not fucking find anywhere. You got the Saiyan saga, the Namek saga, the Frieza saga. Oh. All the puzzles. If you know of the VHS tapes, ladies and gentlemen, and you can create that perfect puzzle of Goku or whoever.
Oh,
That was like my dream growing up, was collecting all the VHS tapes and watching them and just fucking
absolutely just perfect.
Exactly. And so, and they would all this place, Game Trader, would have games that you never even fucking heard of, and you're in fucking heaven. And so Blockbuster, back whenever that was still a thing, I think there's probably still one left, and it's probably in Alaska, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not kidding. I think
it's
that's
something like that. I saw a video about the guy that went to like the last one. And I think it might have been Alaska, or it's one of those random states.
Yeah. And so my weekend consisted of going to Blockbuster and going to get video games, and that was the fucking life. Game Trader had some fucking fire games. Anyways, I remember they had a certain section of like very it was foreign video games. So I remember they had a Dragon Ball Z game, and this was before America came out with the first Dragon Ball Z game that I can remember was Dragon Ball Z Budokai for PlayStation 2. That was the first ever video game that came out for Dragon Ball Z. So
you just ripped that out of my memory bank, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. And the level, you remember the level like in the story mode where you had to hold the Raditz, and it was the hardest thing ever, and you had to keep them in the straight line. Oh my gosh. What a game. What a game. What a time to be alive also.
So the foreign video games that they had a couple of Dragon Ball Z video games. But the interesting thing was about these video games, I don't know if you ever played these or not. I can't remember the name of the video game or video games that I had that were, I think at the time my friend had bought one, or maybe we kind of just traded back and forth the video game. I don't remember, but so you would open up the lid of the PlayStation, and you would put a certain type of spring in the top left area to keep the lid open, and it would do something weird to the video game. You would put a disc in there. You'd press power, you take the disc out, then you put the actual game in there for you to be able to play the video game. And as a kid, this fucking blew my mind that I was able to play with Trunks, Gotenks, fucking Gogeta, Cell, all these characters that had such a big impact on my childhood.
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely. And
absolutely.
It was such a fun fucking time. And I like just talking about this right now. I'm sure there's some sort of application that you can get to where you can download this shit on your computer or whatever and play it. But like the fact that you can, like, you had something tangible in front of you and you could, dude, that I have no words. That shit was fun. If you know anything about this video game, ladies and gentlemen, and you played the fuck, dude, this shit was so fucking fun, man.
Absolutely, bro. My thing was for me, because obviously I was born in 2000, and then all of the my first game system was the N64, because I played Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and that was the game that made me fall in love with like video games just in general.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this is sick. That, and I played GoldenEye 007.
Oh my god,
bro! Classics.
Best N64 game of all time.
Classics, bro.
If not one of the best.
Oh man. So me and my brothers would play that all the time, and then it was that, and then we had the Smash Bros for the original Super Smash Brothers for the N64, and then I went from that, and then got a GameCube, and that was super fun. And we went to the PS2. I don't remember my brothers having a PS1. They might have, but I vividly remember the PS2, but the PS1 I don't ever remember. And then obviously we went to the PS3, PS4. I went to my first personal game system that I ever owned was the Xbox 360.
Okay.
And it was still in the time of like playing Call of Duty, and then people just did not care, and it was just aggression, and like but to me it was like that was my introduction to gaming, and it made me fall in love with it, just like the toxicity of it.
Yeah.
But it was like a person will like be cussing you out like 1 second, and then if you have like a good enough play, they'll be like, hey, yo, damn, that was kind of nice. Like right after, like it was fun. It was like a really good time. But my first was the Xbox 360, and then I had the Xbox One, and then I switched to the PS4, and I had the PS5 now. But my very first, like early on, was the first game system I have the best memories of is part of the GameCube. And I had and to this day it's my second favorite game ever that I've ever played is Sonic Adventure 2. And it was Sonic, and it was like a Sonic game, but you could use all like the characters around, and like you had to beat specific missions with different characters. It was just a great time. But my favorite game ever is a Star Wars game. It's Star Wars Battlefront 2, but it's the original one.
Oh yes,
The original one. Oh my gosh, that game's the whole reason why Darth Maul became like my favorite character, because it's like a level where you're in like the Jedi Temple, and like if you get enough kills, you get to use Darth Maul. And when you get Darth Maul, it's just like there's nobody on planet Earth who's going to stop you. It's just not happening, bro. But nah, man, video games are like, it's just such a nice release. It's just such a nice, just like, I need to relax. Like I need to. I've been working all day long. It's 9 p.m. The boys are online. I need to just
oh yeah.
take back and just do something different and just like vibe out for a little bit.
What about these people that are playing Call of Duty and then like someone's getting their fucking ass kicked and their KD, kill death ratio, for people that don't know what that is.
KD, baby.
It's just fucking trash, and somehow, somewhere, I'm sure there was a documentary about this. The fucking FBI fucking raid your house while you're playing Call of Duty. Have you ever heard of that?
Swatting.
That
happens all the time.
That's some crazy
That's the
stuff.
most fucked up thing in terms of content that I've ever heard of is swatting. And it's like, I'm starting to stream pretty soon. That's actually why I got this mic, because I like this mic a lot more, like among the streamers that I watch and everything. But I've seen a lot of people that have got swatted, and that's like one of the biggest fears that I have is getting swatted. Because like you'll stream, people will find your IP address, and then they'll send in like a bomb threat or something like that. The police break in, and people almost die from this. There's been cases of people who have been killed because of like someone in the chat thinking it'd be funny to swat this person. Like it's so insane to me, bro. And it's like that to me is like I hate it. Like, so that's one fear I have. Thankfully though, the audience that I do have right now, don't prove me wrong. The audience that I have right now is like more of like I don't feel like that sort of thing would happen. Like it's kind of like chill, but it's definitely like it's just spooky, man. Like you wouldn't like that's like I wouldn't like on my worst enemy on this planet, I wouldn't wish that sort of thing on them, because it's like you could genuinely lose your life because the police are going in, they don't know any better. They're going in expecting someone who's trying to do something horrible. That's what they're expecting, because that's the call they get and everything. So they don't know any better, to be completely honest with like the case. So it's like, nah, man, yeah, it's horrifying. That's like one thing I'm super scared of. And you see videos of it like all the time, and it's the worst, man. Yeah, I that's one thing I have a fear of. But again, my audience, I trust them. I trust these young bucks that I got around me, and thankfully my audience is more female now, and there's
really
a lot of them have a brain as opposed to a lot of younger guys.
Yeah.
So I trust them not to make that decision. But there's a couple dudes in there that I'm a little worried about from time to time, but we'll see.
Hey, there's some crazy motherfuckers out there, man.
Hell yeah, bro. It's this whole, like, the whole social media thing is cool, but it does have it's a couple drawbacks. But
that's with anything, man. There's bad and good things with everything in life.
Everything
doesn't matter. You can drink too much fucking water and die. So
exactly, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Funny enough, there was like a time where I met one of my followers in public, and I didn't realize who it was. It was a super young girl, and she was like probably like, it couldn't be more than 14, I would say. Super young girl, and she like ran up to me and hugged me, and she was crying. And but she screamed at first. So to me, I'm like, and at the time I had met maybe one of my followers in like real life before that, like maybe one. So I wasn't expecting this to happen. But she's like screaming and like crying, and her parents are behind her, and I'm like looking at them, and I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, I don't know what is going on right now. And then it's like cool, like that's something that I need to get more comfortable with, because I have in more recent times, as things have been going very well, I've been meeting a lot more of my followers and everything, and it's been It's been that's like my favorite thing to do. But at the same time, it's like it's still weird. Like it's weird to think about people that you don't know knowing you, if that makes any sense.
No, I understand that. So now with we'll take bourbon for example, because
Yeah.
that's my shit. That's my shit. So
Yeah.
I'll connect with some individuals that I've never met before, and we'll just kind of shoot the shit back and forth via Instagram. And I had we'll take for example this one guy that I actually had come over, and we're like we went back and forth for probably about 3 weeks to a month or whatever. I was like, dude, like, what the fuck is your name? Like, let's get together, let's have something to drink, whatever, just shoot the shit, break bread, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was telling my fiance about it. I was like, hey, I got a buddy of mine coming over. Okay, so how'd you meet this guy? Where'd you meet him? Instagram? You never met him before? Is he gonna fucking kill us?
Smart question. To be honest.
Exactly. all legitimate questions, because you never know who you're gonna meet, over social media.
Yeah.
We'll take the Tinder swindler, for example.
The Tinder swindler.
The Tinder swindler.
You could take me, for example. If I'm ever in New Orleans, obviously I would hit you guys up like, oh, like I want to say what's up. But at the same time, it's like, yo, this guy talks about people killing each other for a living. Like, do we really want him in our house? Like, we don't know. Like, you don't know who I am. And at the same time, I don't know you either, but still.
Yes,
yeah.
We want him in our house.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying.
Well, so we actually live in Dallas, Texas. So I'm
You're in New Orleans, but you live in Dallas.
Originally New Orleans. Yeah. So long story, but yeah, we live in Dallas, Texas. So, I don't know what to tell you. All I know is that one of my favorite comedians is Theo Von. I don't know if you know who that. I don't know if you know who that is, but
I'm heavy, and of course I do. I'm heavy in the game, but I could ask you my favorite, but my favorite comedian is super stereotypical. So he's the greatest of all time.
Who is it?
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, dude, fucking the GOAT. He's
the greatest of all time. Yeah, I wish I could say someone else, but he is like, if he ever, when he did the Netflix specials and everything, it's like he's just the best. He's literally the best at what he does.
Yes, he is. He's so fucking poetic, man.
It's just amazing, bro.
He is phenomenal. I would love to see him live. So there's a joint walking distance from our place called Hyenas. There's one in Dallas and there's one in Fort Worth. That's probably about an hour difference from each venue. Yeah. And every once in a while we'll walk over there, go pop in, see some get some giggles flowing,
some gaps and giggles. Absolutely.
That's right. So I love live comedy, and I've seen some phenomenal individuals perform. And I've seen TJ Miller. I don't know if you've seen him before. He's
actually,
if you've seen Deadpool, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Is he the bartender?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah. Okay.
So he was the bartender who was in Silicon Valley. I don't know if you've seen that show. Just all around funny individual. Seen him live.
Hilarious.
I saw Chris D'Elia at one point.
Wow. Yeah.
It just, it's just some fun shit. But I would love to see Dave Chappelle live. That shit would be so fucking
It's
fire.
one of my dreams, bro. I want to see him so bad. Like, I want to see him so bad. Because for him, he's like, I admire him simply from the perspective of, you know who Donald Glover is, or Childish Gambino?
Yeah, no, I know who he is.
Yeah. Those two I admire from the perspective of they do whatever the hell they feel like.
Yeah, no doubt.
They have no fear of cancellation because they know that in their hearts they don't have hatred towards what's going on. So that's not where it's coming from. So they talk about like specific topics and things that might be taboo to a lot of different people, but they still are tapped in to like that sort of thing. And they just go for it, and it's amazing. Like, I absolutely love it. Fun fact, by the way, I don't know if you see the outline right here. Just so you know, you see the outline, like the little, like the light outline right here. It's like
yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Fun fact, I have a. Okay, this is actually a crazy ass story. So we'll come back to this comedian thing, but I've for the last, I want to say 3 or 4 years, I've had a ghost that's been haunting me.
Okay.
And again, obviously it's gonna sound like whatever, but I got one night, me and my friend, we did like a Ouija board, not a good idea, obviously. But
No.
we're stupid, and we were 18 and stupid at the time. So we did a Ouija board at a place that we knew there was a child that had gotten abducted and all sorts of stuff. And it was in our hometown, all sorts of stuff. So we did the Ouija board, and it weirdly worked, which I didn't like, but we kind of just like shrugged it off. 4 nights later, I get sleep paralysis, and I'm sleeping, and I can't move, and I just see a kid in the corner of the room, and he was like a shadow, though. It was weird. He was like shadowed out, and there was like a bunch of like shadows around him, but he was just chilling there. And I was like, okay, this is not good. And I'm able to get out of it, thank God. And then I go back to sleep, and I have a dream, and it sounds like absolute bullshit, and I get it, but I go to sleep, and I have this dream, and I literally just see a kid sitting in a cave, and he's sitting down, and I walk up to him, and he turns around, his eyes are absolutely blacked out, and he's screaming, there's like a black cloud coming out of his mouth. I'm like, okay, that's not good. So we do all this other stuff, and then I have sleep paralysis for the next 3 nights in a row, and I see the kid, and every night he gets closer and closer. And I'm like, okay, I don't like this. So we keep going, and then eventually I tell my friend, and he's like, yo, I've been having some weird nights as well, blah blah. So we go back to the same place, and we tell him like, bro, we literally like we were so like caught up at the moment. We're just like, bro, like you're free. Like you're free now. Just go wander the world, do whatever you have to do. Because the kid passed away. He ended up passing away, which we already knew about. So we were like, bro, just go out, be free, do what you gotta do, blah blah. And then things are chilling. I don't see him for a year. And then I had my girlfriend at the time. I'm not dating her anymore, but my girlfriend at the time, we went to sleep, and we were just chilling in bed. And I always stayed up super late editing, and I went to bed, and I got up, I had sleep paralysis, and I could hear my girlfriend breathing, and it sounded like she was like having like a death croak. Like it was bad. Like she literally was like breathing really weird, and I was hearing it, and I was like, I have to help her somehow, blah blah. And who the fuck do I see in the corner of the room? It's the kid. And he's there, and I see him walking over. And this is the first time I've ever seen the kid move in my entire life of knowing him. He's moving over towards us. He grabs her leg, and the breathing stops, and she just breathes normally. And then I eventually fall back asleep, wake up, and I'm like, oh, so this kid's cool. Like this kid's like, he's chilling. And a couple times I see him every now and then, but it's got to the point where like I see him literally just like all around me, and like things that shouldn't be the way that they are, if that makes any sense, like shadows and this right here is like, so to me, I kind of just chop it up to just like, oh, he's just looking after me. Cause he's like, he's clearly a chill kid. Cause in my mindset, I was having sleep paralysis. My girlfriend was dying, and he was like, oh, I got you. He just handled it. So to me, he's a chill kid. But I see him literally all the time. Like I'll have sleep paralysis every once in a while. I'll see him in the corner of my room. And the thing is, like, you'll hear stories about people having sleep paralysis, but rarely is it the same monster that they see, or any monster whatsoever while they're having it. It's normally like a skinwalker looking type monster, like very tall, very lanky, that comes over the bed, and it's very scary. But I had the same kid over and over again. And this is like stuff like this, you can see that it's actually like kind of blocking out now. Like by the time we're done with this, I promise you this like little like ray of light will just be like one big block. I promise you, because he's leaving now. But it's really freaky. Like it sounds weird, but at the same time, it's like I've like grown like I've kind of just accepted that he's just here to stay, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just take it as a positive. Like, he's looking after me. Like, yeah, that's what it has to be. Like, obviously, but it's really weird, man. It's really, 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 really weird. I haven't told anyone really, like, I guess, like publicly, like about this, but yeah, it's really wild, man.
Well,
obviously,
so I believe. I don't know. I can't explain stuff like that very well, but like I do believe, sure, that exists. And I can only recall one instance where I had something very creepy happened to me. Because I mean, what you experienced was very creepy, but it kind of seemed like it was very, to a degree, kind of like calming as well. I don't know.
After a while.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't remember if this was like whenever I currently still lived in New Orleans, or maybe it was I want to say it was before I actually lived in. Excuse me, before I lived there.
Before you were alive.
Yeah, so I was just a wee little sperm. I was living in Tennessee. We went back to New Orleans for whatever reason, just to, for shits and giggles. And my mother and I were kind of just like, strolling around the city, whatever. I was like, hey, Mom, I'm going to go up into the store. And I think it was a voodoo shop of some sorts. Probably shouldn't have went in there, but
bro, I want to see one of those shops so bad.
The
voodoo stuff. I know it's probably very unsettling, but my whole thing is these are some extremely unsettling facts. So I want to I really want to see it. Like it seems like really cool. Like the whole culture behind it seems pretty tight too. Like I really want to see it.
It's pretty cool. I don't know. I haven't really dived into it too much because I don't know. It's kind of like diving into the fucking Ouija board. It's like that's it's not for me. But if you do it, it's cool. It's cool.
Don't blame you.
But so the weird thing was, so one thing about certain shops, specifically if it's more in a touristy area of New Orleans, hence the French Quarter, a lot of the stores front doors are going to be open. I don't know what it is. That's just the thing. But I walked in, nobody was in there. The walls were brick, and if you can imagine brick with like moss coming down, that's the vibe that they had going on in there in regards to the walls, and just like a lot of weird voodoo shit.
Yeah,
everywhere. I walked in, there was nobody in there. It was weird. I don't know if there was a bathroom in there or something, and somebody was taking a number 2. But they were letting some demons out, if you will. But while I was in there, it's very hard to explain, but I felt like something was hovering over me, and I did not like it. That is my only experience, really, with like weird shit happening in my life. But it was enough for me to be like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm gone. So,
fuck this shit. I'm out.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But not as crazy as your story, but yeah.
No, that's still fucking. Yeah. That's still rough, bro.
That was enough for me.
Shoot, I would be the same way. We actually went to the Westchester House to San Jose.
What? I've heard that name, San Jose. No, what is it?
So basically, there was a woman who was married to this man, and do you know? There's like this thing called like the Westchester guns, which were like the original like firearms used like in like the wars and stuff, like World War I, II, and I think the Civil War, I believe. But there's a woman who moved to San Jose. Actually, no, let me give the full breakdown. So essentially, she lived on the East Coast, and she went to go see a medium, which for the people that are uninformed, essentially a medium is just someone who is, in their own words, like clairvoyant, which just means that they have like connections to like the spirit world and like ghosts and stuff like that. But she had lost her husband, she had lost her aunt and uncle and her dad and her niece, I believe, in the span of like 4 or 5 months. And so she thought she was cursed. So she moved, and like she went to go see a medium, and the medium told her like, you have to move west. Just keep moving west as far as you can. So she moved, she went to a couple different places, and then she ended up in San Jose, California. And she talked to him, and then essentially she was just like, okay, what do I do now? And the medium said, you have to keep building your house and never stop building on it until the day you die. And she was like, all right, cool, whatever. So she was doing that. And I went to go visit the house, same ex-girlfriend. We were there, and that was the one time I felt like I felt so uncomfortable the entire time I was there, because like something's off here. Other things really off. And then there was like a room where me and her both were like, I feel like I'm gonna pass out right now. Like something's really, really weird about this room, and I don't know what it is. But the entire house, she had doorways or hallways that led to nothing. There were doors, you would open them, and there'd be a wall. And there would be like, you would open a door and it would lead to a ledge that if you fell off, you would die. It was like 20 feet in the air. And she did all this so that the ghosts and the spirits that she believed she was haunted by would get lost. And we visited that place, and it was a great time. I had a ball. But just because of what I do and everything, like it was really cool to be able to see it and like be able to like be a part of it in person. But that was another moment where I was like, this is wild. Like I was like, I felt like really like I actually felt uncomfortable being like a part of it. It was really weird, man. It was really cool though at the same time. But it was wild though. I'm not gonna lie. It was really, really wild.
You ever heard of that that haunted house? I want to say it's in Tennessee actually, where you have to sign a waiver.
McCamey Manor?
Yes.
Yeah. And you have to sign a waiver, and then when you go inside, you cannot leave. And it's an 8-hour tour, and nobody's made it past 4 hours, I believe. I think 3 or 4 hours. And you have to sign it, and you cannot get out of the house unless you have a medical condition that comes up or you pass out. Those are the only 2 ways you can get out of the house, which is insane. That's really funny you brought that up because I was about to bring that up for some reason, but it's really funny that you brought that up because that is that's so crazy to me. But you sign the waiver, and the only way you can get in, like paying, is with dog food because they donate all the dog food to a shelter, which is
really?
insane. Yeah, that's the only way you can get it. You have to pay through dog food. You have to give them a full bag of like a giant bag of dog food, and they donate it to a local shelter. But when you get inside, you cannot leave. You cannot leave unless you pass out, unless you pass out or one of the medics on site say, yo, if he keeps going, he might die. That's the only way you can get out. And you literally sign your life away on the contract.
No, that's fucked up. Okay, look, this is random, but I'm calling my mom. I'm going to call my mom right now.
Mama Brooks?
Yes. So
yes.
All right. This is haunted house related. Is why I'm calling her. All right. You'll see in a second. Hold on.
Absolutely.
Put her on speaker. Can you hear that? Oh, I got it on speaker. Hold on. Can you hear that?
Yeah, okay. I hear that.
What's up? Got a question for you. I have you live on my podcast right now, and I had a question for you about a haunted house. Okay, so you remember the haunted house in New Orleans called the House of Shock, right? Uh-huh. Okay, so for everyone that does not know, the House of Shock was at one point, I don't know if it still is, it was the scariest fucking haunted house in all of the United States. So I had a friend by the name of Keith that worked there. And I think one of his family members was the one that owned the haunted house. Who was that guy again? Mom?
I'm trying to think of the name of that group. It was owned by Pantera.
Pantera, that's right. Okay, so that's all I need to know, Mom. I love you, and I will talk to you later, and I will tag you in this post whenever it's done, okay?
Okay, cool.
All right, love you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so that's who it was. I couldn't remember. I knew reliable old Mama would know. So
reliable, man.
Super random. Are you playing with a Rubik's Cube right now?
I am, yeah. I'm about to solve it.
Okay, I feel like you've been playing with that fucking thing the whole time. I was like, because I think I saw it earlier, and I was like, is he playing with a Rubik's Cube? We got fucking Logic's over here, fucking solving that shit behind his back. But
there you go.
Okay. Oh, you just solved it.
Just for you, buddy.
Hey, okay, there we go.
Logic.
Doesn't he like solve Rubik's Cubes or something?
He's a lot better than me. He can do it with his eyes closed while he's freestyling, which is insane.
Fuck that. That's
he's a different Logic is a different human being altogether. Love that guy.
So that's fucking insane. So okay, coming back to Pantera and this haunted house, the House of Shock in New Orleans. So I grew up with a kid. His name was Keith. I hadn't talked to this kid fucking probably since I was in middle school.
Oh shit.
So I remember I didn't know about it until just within the last 5 years, but I remember hanging out with this kid, and my mom would drop me off at his house, and then we would go to hang out with his family and stuff like that. And then I'd always hear stories. I've never been to the House of Shock because I'm a pussy. Okay, so but I remember hanging out with him and his family and stuff like that, and his fucking cousin if I'm not mistaken, is, as you heard my mom say, his family member was a part of the band of Pantera. I probably should have kept her on the phone to see who the fuck it was, but I don't know. Anyways, I want to say it was the drummer of Pantera or something, was his cousin who owned the House of Shock. And I would be hanging around this guy, not knowing who the fuck he was. And looking back, I'm like, Mom, why didn't you tell me this until just like fucking a week ago? Like, what is happening? I'm not gonna pretend like I'm like a super big like Pantera fan or something like that, but like, I mean, that was cool. It was cool as fuck. Yeah. So, but anyways, haunted houses, I would not go to them because I'm a pussy, and yeah. So
while we're talking about Louisiana, do you know about the Devil's Toy Box?
I'm not gonna pretend like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So essentially, in Louisiana, there's this thing called the Devil's Toy Box, and it's been described as okay. So essentially, there was a little like festival that was going on during autumn one year. I call fall autumn, by the way, just because I like the name autumn very much. So there's a festival that's going on one year during autumn, and it was like, oh, like we're gonna have haunted hay rides and all this other stuff, blah blah. And they had this room, and it was called the Devil's Toy Box. And it's this little like shack that's still there in Louisiana to this day on the side of a hill. And you can go inside, but nobody's ever made it over 5 minutes staying inside because it's a room filled with mirrors. So the floor, the walls, the roof, mirrors everywhere. So essentially, you're going through this entire thing, and you go inside, and nobody's ever been able to make it longer, except for one person. There's one person that made it longer. They broke the record, but they had to go inside and save him because he lost his mind. And it's called the Devil's Toy Box. And nobody knows the reasoning behind or what goes on, but there's soundproofing, so you can't hear anything except for your own thoughts. And there's the mirrors everywhere. So you just see yourself no matter where you look. And for whatever, there's like literally a timer on the outside of the building that would count down until the person would break the record. And it went on. One person broke the record, and they went on after that. They were not able to speak for the rest of their life. And then they were in critical condition, and they died after sitting in the Devil's Toy Box in Louisiana. I did a video about it a while ago, but it's pretty crazy. It's pretty fucking crazy.
Yo, Louisiana has
Voodoo.
Voodoo is like super prevalent there, no doubt. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. My mom is very infatuated with voodoo, and
Mama Brooks, man.
She has. I'm pretty sure to this day she still has a voodoo doll in the living room. It always creeped me the fuck out. I'm like, Mom, why do you have that? Why do you have that? But oh, dude, that's some crazy stuff, man. You know, no, I don't fuck with that shit. Oh. Hell no.
What? Hell no.
Have you seen the Skeleton Key? Have you seen that movie?
The movie, no. I know what a Skeleton Key is, but I haven't seen the movie The Skeleton Key, no.
Okay, wait. So what are you thinking it is?
A skeleton key is like a key that can essentially open any door, right?
Okay, so the skeleton, yeah, exactly. So it's like a master key, essentially. Yeah. So the Skeleton Key was a movie based on some sort of like witch voodoo shit that happened in the bayou in New Orleans, and it's a good movie. That's all I have to say about that. But
so now I have to watch the Skeleton Key, I have to watch When the Levees Broke, and I have to watch Katrina Babies.
Hell yeah, dude. Yes. If you don't watch those, you're going to do yourself a disservice, and
I love it.
It potentially could open up some more opportunities for content for you. I don't know, maybe. Absolutely. But that's the thing about like life, and that's one thing that my fiance Courtney and I have talked about quite often is like we want to travel so much more. Mm-hmm. We want to. So we have our engagement party the beginning of next month. So November 5th. Okay, so all right, Courtney's in here. Do you want to be in? You want to be in the
recording?
Video? Yes, I am recording. I am live right now. So.
Hello, Courtney.
Koda says, "What's up?"
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so do you want to be in the video?
Not really.
She does not want to be in the video, but okay, there she is.
She is.
Okay, so since we have her here, I'm very curious to see, since we were talking about this earlier, why is it that females are so infatuated or attracted to true crime?
It is very interesting though, man, because I've definitely noticed since like everything's going on, and I've like made like the change on my page to like focus more on it, because I've always had like a very deep and like strong interest in that sort of thing. But ever since I made the change for that to be like the main priority, I've definitely noticed a insurgence of following from like the female audience and everything like that. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, that's almost like that's very interesting. Like,
I mean, that's
out of nowhere.
That's an entire like psychological study, though. I think that a lot of people are asking is why do females get such interest and infatuation in true crime? What's wrong
That's a
with
good
us?
question.
Are
That's
we
a very good question. I think you guys just want to kill the man that you're with, but like obviously that's not like an optimal
we're just
option.
living vicariously through other people's murder?
Yeah, you know, just living vicariously through some people. Just because it's like you just get like you guys are just angry as shit because we just do something stupid, and then it's just like, okay, well, at least this person was able to get it out. That's it.
The worst is I still sometimes do listen to this podcast called Sword and Scale, which is pretty brutal true crime stories. And I used to watch it while I would walk my dogs. Not a good idea, because then that's the one thing that I get nervous about who's behind me and what's happening.
Oh, you listen to that while you're walking?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a wild time to listen to it. Walking like if you're walking through like a park or something.
Have you heard of that podcast Sword and Scale?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
I'm very like in like the whole like audience of like I guess you could say like, true crime, like all that stuff like that. Like people like go through like that sort of thing. I'm very like in tune with like everything that they're doing and everything like that, just because like I want to be like a part of like those podcasts and stuff like that as well. But man,
were you around when the host had that whole controversy and they tried to get him off the show, put someone in his place, and then
I was there after that.
Okay. Yeah.
And I heard about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But
okay, so
I have an exclusive I can actually give your podcast. Fun fact.
Ooh.
Let's hear it.
Is that me and so I've been paid very nicely lately. And me and on my page, if you guys go through my YouTube channel, like me and my friends, we just made like vlogs, just like pretty much just fucking around, like nothing serious. But we those like the friend that I had in that we're like kind of like planning right now, like through like separate companies and stuff like that, to be able to go to Europe and like make like a docu-series essentially, because the main one I have in mind right now is for Jack the Ripper, because I feel like in terms of like when you think of like horror cases and like true crime cases, he's the pinnacle. Like he's like the OG, like whatever, like America wise it's H.H. Holmes, but like just like in the world, like when you think of like a horrible killer, it's Jack the Ripper. Like absolutely. So
I agree with you for sure.
Exactly. So we want to do a series where it's like we go to not England, but like a specific part like around that area where it actually happened, and we like talk about the whole case, what's going on, we explore the area and all that. It would be for YouTube, it wouldn't be for TikTok. We probably have like clips for TikTok, but still. And we're still working on that right now, but I'm allowed to say that much, but my managers obviously have cut me off from like a specific amount that I can't talk about on it. But that's a little exclusive for the podcast that nobody knows about, but we're working really hard on it to make sure that it gets done, just because it'll be so cool, man. Absolutely.
I do have a question about like or actually your thoughts on, let's say someone's like, I want to listen to a scary story or something like that, and they're trying to find something on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something. Courtney knows what I'm getting ready to say. You're like, I want to listen to something scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Why is it that every time, and I don't know if you've done this before, but why is it that whenever you're trying to find something on social media for a podcast, that every time you're trying to listen to something scary, the person that is narrating whatever particular story you're listening to sounds like a fucking dweeb?
Yeah. And it's funny enough, I feel like that's why I am as successful as I am. I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound like a dick, but like I partially feel like that's part of why I've had the success I had, just because obviously you hear my regular talking voice right now, but like when I'm telling a story, it's like these are some extremely unsettling facts. So it's like a lot deeper of like a type of thing, but I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question because like it takes a certain type of weirdo to be intrigued as deeply as like I am, or I don't know if you guys know Jack Neal or like people like that are, like in terms of like true crime cases and stuff like that. So I definitely feel like that might be like part of the case, but like for me, it's like obviously I'm like a bigger dude. I'm 6'2". I'll say 6'3" just for the cameras, but I'm like, I'm 6'3". I'm like 6'3". Especially since fucking Brody over here is 6'8". So like, yeah, I'm like 6'3" and a half. I have to be in heels maybe. But so it's like, it's it's like it's one of those things where it's like I don't know why, but there's a couple like solid podcasts. Like I'm looking through them right now. Like Crime Junkie, like it's weird. Like a lot of the ones that like have like the solid like narration are females. In a lot of cases like that. A lot of the female narrators in a lot of like these horror cases they fucking kill it. They fucking kill that shit. It's like Crime Junkies, all this other stuff, and oh wow, Case File True Crime. Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, Koda the Dream was just recently sponsored by Case File, and we would love to tell them that we love them so much, and we were hoping that hopefully this podcast that he's currently on would also be able to get a sponsorship as well. So we were just like we love you guys. You just paid us out, but make sure that we support the other people. We're on his platform right now, so if we want to shoot a little brand deal over here to Travis Kelce, that'd be amazing. But anyway, but no, man, for real, like a lot of the other podcasts that have like the female like narrators and stuff like that, they're a lot like they're just very good. And like I agree with you 100%. Like a lot of the ones with like the males, it's been not that they sound like torpy or like boring, but I don't know how else to say it because like a lot of them they don't have like the storytelling ability, I guess, or they might just not be comfortable in front of like a mic or a camera yet. Which, and as time goes on, we could see them, I guess, evolve in that sort of game. Because before, when I was puberty, Courtney, you don't know this, but me and my man right here, Travis Kelce, we were talking about we talked about like how I started because I've been doing YouTube for a decade now because it's almost 2023. And when I was younger, it was very much like, oh yeah, I want to make this video about this, blah 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 blah. And I had a lisp, so it's like, yeah, I want to make this video about this for like all this other stuff, all sort of stuff. And I like kind of grew up and turned to the person I am now. So it's like more of like I have like more of like the confidence and everything. I feel like that's a very strong role that plays in a lot of people who narrate these videos and talk about these videos that they don't have that level of confidence yet because it takes a lot to be able to talk about something like this. And I'm hoping to get there, absolutely, of course, but it takes time. But if they have success with what they're doing, then I will always support them. But for me, I've been hit up by a couple podcasts and I've said no to just about all of them just because I'm very much I don't want to say this in a weird way, but I'm very much off the grid in terms of things. I'm very selective in terms of like the podcast and stuff that I actually select. And yeah, so I'm hoping that this kind of evens out over time and we have more people like giving good, like solid explanations of cases and stuff like that as it goes on. I can only do so much. Jack Neal can only do so much. Only JS can only do so much, and we'll kind of see how that goes from there. But it's a weird little audience that we have right now on our page, and I feel like it's a really good like niche to like break into and kind of talk about more often. But yeah, man, it's a little interesting. So it's a very I know that wasn't a very direct answer, but I don't really have a direct answer because it's a very interesting kind of.
No, you're good. So
yeah, it's interesting.
I'm sure you get a fuck ton of DMs on TikTok. I'm sure.
of people
Oh
asking
my
if
God.
they will cut him and stand on their neck and kill them slowly.
I mean, goddamn, everyone. But
that's
That's what he said.
yeah.
Well, so what I'm saying is, like, you get an influx of just a shit ton of fucking people coming on there. So it's like, how do you have like a, what am I trying to say?
I feel like, I mean, part of it is probably luck of the draw as to what you do respond to. But then I'm sure there are things that you see, like you said, that you can tell that kind of seem like a bot, or just things that is more savvy not to respond to. So I guess this question is, how do you filter through those to determine who you do respond to and who you feel is like a true fan that you want to engage with, or a brand deal that may be inquiring with you versus just the alternatives?
So I will say, before anything else, both of you, I have a wild amount of respect for both of you, because the fucking questions you're asking me are actually fucking, like, these are real good questions that if a random kid that wants to be a TikToker or like they're like actually like gonna pay attention to, and like people that are in my audience already, for what me and Sean were talking about earlier, it's like they can get a deeper perspective of who I am as a person. Like, I love Star Wars, I love Dragon Ball Z, I love all these other stuff. So I will say that before anything else, I appreciate both of you, and I'm super thankful for that. And that's why I've been here for the last 3.5 hours. Like, genuinely,
You can go.
Like, I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm fully fucking impressed, like, wildly by this entire thing. And I had a good feeling about it. And I'm glad that it turned out to be exactly what I was thinking it was, because this has been absolutely fucking amazing. But for me, with everything, in terms of like replying to people and like replying like comments and everything like that, it's been, you can, after a while, you can kind of tell when a bot's sending you a message, or you can kind of tell when it's like, you can kind of tell, like, because I'll look through my DMs every once in a while, because I only get DMs from my friends, like the people that I follow that also follow me, so they consider friends on TikTok. I'll reply to those comments every once in a while, but the comments that are just people following me, there's like a separate tab for it, so I have to click into it and see all of the comments, and there's a lot of them. But when I see those ones, I'll reply to a few of them and be like, oh yeah, this case happened because of this, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of like a bot, I can kind of tell. And when it's a brand, I just won't say anything, because if it's a brand that's actually seriously interested, they'll hit me up from my my email that I have in my bio, which is to my managers. And then my managers will handle that from going forward to make sure I get paid as much as I possibly can. But no, yeah, absolutely. That's where I'm at with that. But I try to reply to I don't reply too much through DM, but with my videos, when I post them for the first like an hour or two, like I told Sean earlier, like for the first hour or two, I'll reply to all the messages as much as I possibly can. Like all like the comments as much as I possibly can for like the first hour or two, to make sure I communicate with as many followers that are there from early as much as I can. And then other followers will see like I replied to them, but I didn't reply to the people that came later. And then they'll be like, oh, I want to see this video as quick as possible. And that like builds a drive for people to want to come see your videos early, or make sure that they're like caught up, and that they keep going on what's going on. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that currently.
So speaking of brand deals, has your agency, I just feel like this could be something that you should look into. Have you ever looked into doing like stories for the Calm app?
No, actually.
No? Nobody's brought that up to you? I feel like you'd be very good at that.
No, I got hit up to do very recently. I got hit up to do stories for Snapchat. Again, it's another exclusive type of thing, but
that's cool.
I've been hit up to do stories for Snapchat, and we're working on it right now to make sure that we get it done properly and we get it done the right way, so that I can have my own story page on Snapchat, so people that are on Snapchat can see they'll see my face, like, oh, what is he talking about today? Blah blah. And then then I get paid from that too.
The Calm app, though, which is completely different from what you're doing now, and I guess I'm pivoting towards, playing off of your voice, which, is a talent, as well as the other things you are doing.
Yes.
All it is they do, some are for meditation, but some are just like literally reading a story for someone to fall asleep in a positive way. Usually they use celebrities, or they use people with just a very good voice that is something that just kind of is helpful to. So I told Sean at one point, I was like, I get so sucked into his page, but then sometimes I will rewatch things because his voice is so calming that it kind of like is my wind down.
Can I ask you
like psychopath?
What on earth is so calming about my voice?
I think it's like the even low tone is very calming. And I really do think this is something you should bring to your managers about. Maybe it's not that specific company. There are several of them that do it. But if you're wanting like a additional, and this would just be for you, like as a source of income, that literally you could kick it out one day, reading a few stories and then call it a day. And it's also kind of like mailbox money for you.
That's true. Like I would love to do it. It's just that always like was like something I was very curious about because that's probably the one DM. So we're talking about the DMs that I get and everything. That's the one DM I get the absolute most is talking about my voice.
Yeah.
Some of them are very sweet. It's just like, oh yeah, like I love your voice. It's very nice. It's calming, blah, blah. And then the other ones are the wilder ones.
Oh, I'm sure.
That I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But it's like, I never, like for me, it's just like, for me, it's just like setting the mood for
it's perfect.
what I'm talking about, which I appreciate. Thank you. Like that's like the biggest thing for me is like setting the mood for like what I'm talking about. And
it's
like,
so true though.
Like,
I do think that
this
just
like voice,
people are drawn to that type of voice. I mean, when I first started dating Sean, I had a handful of friends that were like, "Oh my god, that voice." So I think it is just that like,
man, look at you, Travis Kelce. Yes, sir. Yeah.
And I would be like, "Hey, back off."
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. Yes. So you guys met through Bumble, right?
Yes, correct.
That's amazing. And you guys still don't have a brand deal for Bumble yet?
We should.
You know how easy that would be to get? Like you're a podcaster and your little soon-to-be wife was through Bumble.
Help pay for the wedding.
They might. They just might.
So how easy would it be to get?
However, the founder of Bumble is actually from Texas.
Oh, come on, bro. Oh, yeah.
99% sure I know she bought her wedding dress here.
When you mean here, you mean Dallas?
A friend of mine used to work at a very high-end bridal boutique in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And she had the lovely benefit of dressing the CEO of Bumble. I don't know if she's from here. I'm pretty sure she is, or she flew to Dallas to purchase her dress. I think she's from Texas.
No shit.
I'll
really?
Google it.
Well, it could be a possibility. So,
but Michael, let's cut this out in case I get us in trouble with Bumble.
We'll see what happens, Michael. So,
Koda, do you have a significant other?
I did for 3 years, and then I want to say, damn, I no way I forgot already. At the beginning of October, that's when it ended. But yeah, so I'm still pretty fresh.
Still good friends, correct?
Yeah, I still, like I said, it wasn't like in a negative way or anything. It was just very much like I still have absolute love for her. I have nothing negative to say about her whatsoever. She's an amazing person, but at this point,
what's your opinion on exes being friends? Obviously, you guys are friends.
Damn!
As a general question.
That's what a question. Wow. Wow. Great question.
Welcome. Y'all invited me in here as just so y'all remember. You invited me.
We did. No, I'm glad we did because that's a great question right there. That's a phenomenal question. I definitely feel like it can be okay. So breakdown. My best friend on the entire planet is dating my ex's sister. Also,
okay.
So I'm super close with my ex's sister. I'm still very close to my ex as well, but that's a great question. I think it can be healthy if it's done in the right way. Essentially,
yeah.
I definitely think it can be healthy. But the only thing I expect, like once she gets like a new boyfriend, if that ends up or if I don't end up with her, by the way, Sean, keep in mind our boy is completely gone now. Just so you know.
Oh shit! Yeah, you weren't lying. What the fuck was that?
What?
He's gone. But
You're not fucking with me, are you?
I'm being dead serious. He's
That
gone.
shit's fucking crazy.
What?
He's gone.
You'll have to watch the podcast to find out.
Do you have a ghost?
Yeah, I do. But you have to watch the podcast to get the full story, man. You gotta watch the
I,
full.
oh,
You
wait,
gotta watch the
you
podcast.
think I don't watch the podcast? Come on now.
That's what we like to hear. But we gotta, for that story, you have to get the full podcast. You know what I mean? Me and Sean, we're bonding very tightly through this whole
Oh, I
thing.
can't wait to hear.
Absolutely. But he's, I was gonna say he's gone now. But so my she's gone, and like I said, I still love her, still like really cool with her, whatever, blah blah. But I think if it's done in the right way, which even our breakup, I don't think was done in the right way, but I still obviously have respect for her because I was with her for a while, and I still have an endless amount of love for her as a person, blah blah. I think it can be done positively, for sure. My thing is, I don't think in a lot of relationships it is done positively. That's the only problem. Yeah, but I think it could be done positively if it's in the right relationship. But also, I fully expect that if I don't end up back with her, which I would like, but obviously if it doesn't end up like that, she ends up with someone else. If it doesn't end up like that, she's with someone else, I fully expect to never speak to her again. Because I know for a fact,
not
if
just friendship, you just said you wanted to end up back with her.
I would, that's the thing. I would like to, because she was one that ended it because of all of the stuff that I did because of work wise, and
Your TikTok and your YouTube scared her.
And that's all
I thought you were going to bury her alive.
Pretty much, I get no, but that's all I really cared about. But for me, it's like, I feel like you guys are like my mom and dad right now, but still, but
He's called us old.
Yo, I can tell you right now, Courtney is like, it doesn't matter what we talk about. She can play devil's advocate with you. She can. Doesn't matter if we're talking about your favorite fucking food or the love of your life or whatever.
I do like.
She had the way she describes shit and the way she talks is just it's second to none. That's why she's the fucking G when it comes to what she does. And it's the I don't really know how to describe it. There's a reason that she is in the position that she is in her life with what she's doing with her job. So she's a fucking animal. So
we love it. We love to hear that. Absolutely. We love to hear that.
But I do hope it works out. I mean, Sean told me a lot of exes that he had in the past, a big issue. Sean, I don't know if he went into this with you. Like he never was an actual bodybuilder or anything like that, but he was really into that world and living that life and being in that, you know, I'm going to eat really healthy and I'm going to go to the gym all the time. And that's going to be my focus.
Yes.
And in his past life, that lost, you know, similar to, it's kind of a career. So similar to being focused overly on your career, that can be hard on a relationship. So I get where you're coming from. It's all about balance. It's hard.
That's the thing for sure that my young self still doesn't completely understand yet.
Yeah.
Mom and dad is that the balance side of things is it's hard to manage, especially at the young age I'm at right now. Because for me, it's like I'm either full into a relationship or I'm full into what I'm doing. And that's it.
Yeah.
Which is tough. It's tough, man. It's very tough. And to everyone watching right now, if you are a young person who is a young grasshopper who is approaching the social media game and all of this stuff, I fully encourage you, no questions asked, go for it. But at the same time, try not to, don't put all your eggies in one basket. I did. It worked out for sure. But it's not going to work out for everyone. At the same time, you need to keep those same positive relationships that you have going on also. So that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, that's probably what I would say about that one. It's just like, that's kind of how it ended off for sure. And like I said, I have zero negative feelings towards her whatsoever. And then it's been absolutely good, but it's also been and not in a negative way, but it's also been very good for me because I've just been fully focused on just creating content and everything, which has been great. So it's because this is my above everything else. I love my family above everyone else, but above everything else, this is my biggest focus in my life. It's just creating content, building an audience of people that can enjoy what I'm doing, and at the same time still have like still care, like without like building an audience without it being like a negative force towards the people I care about also, because like it's very easy to get caught in building like the content and everything, but it's very easy to almost not forget about, but like almost push like the people that you love more than anything onto the back burner. And my best friend in the entire world, who we just went over, is dating my ex's sister. And my best my best friend in the world is like, I've hung out with him more than I have in a long time, more recently, because I've had the time, because I'd fish my videos. I get up at like 6 a.m., 8 a.m. every day, get all my stuff done, work hard, get everything done by probably like 4 or 5 p.m. And then I'm done and I get to hang out with him, go play basketball, do what I have to do. And it's really nice. So it's a lot of, there's a lot of things that go into it, but at the same time, it's very much like, it's hard. It's definitely hard work, and it's a lot harder than a lot of people would expect. But I definitely love doing what I'm doing, and I'm very thankful to be in the position that I'm in right now. And again, thankful for my audience, thankful for my managers and everything. Thankful for people like you, Sean, that give me this opportunity to be in fucking podcast and just talk about this. And then, because we said we were supposed to be done, what, 2.5 hours ago, and we're still here.
Yeah. It was funny because like, so I typically don't really have a script per se, but like, you know,
I can't.
What?
Can't keep it out.
I don't care. It's fine. Who cares? No, it's fine. Sorry. I don't really have a script per se, but you know, I will have a set amount of questions. It doesn't necessarily mean that like, okay, when I'm done with these questions that I'll be done, but at the same time, like with the amount of sorry, my dogs are in here and they're like,
puppy,
what are you doing?
The whole family's in the closet.
Yeah, so
I love it. I absolutely love it.
It doesn't necessarily mean that like I'm done with like what it is that I'm doing, but like at the same time, it's like, okay, now I'm aware of how many followers I have, and I'm aware of like, you know, the engagement that I have with what it is that I'm doing. So like, typically, who the fuck is gonna listen to me for? Right now, we're at 3 hours and 40 minutes. So like, who in their right mind is gonna listen to me? It's probably be like maybe 1 or 2 people. Cool, but at the same time, it's like,
hey, don't shortchange Michael too, man, because realistically speaking, broken down, this will probably be like 240. I'm guessing.
And the way to do it is to break it into episodes.
Well, and that's one thing that I'm definitely going to do is like, so this is the longest podcast I've ever done. So like, we're going to make this a multiple podcast, like episode 1, episode 2, whatever.
Well, so it's scientifically proven that people will not pay attention for more than 45 minutes. It's true. So anything over than 45 minutes, even if it's a podcast, they're not listening, which that's not bad. But anything over that should be broken into, and even for myself, the podcast I listen to when there's like a episode 2, just like it as if it's a Netflix that you have to, back in the day of cable, if you had to wait a week for the next episode, you're talking about it more. You're more excited for it. You're going to be really.
Same Dragon Ball Z, Sean. Remember how pissed off?
Thank you.
I was about how pissed off we used to get. Like, will Goku transform? Find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Motherfucker, that Goku was transforming all the time.
For like 5 episodes. I'm like, dog, I don't want to have to wait a month and a half to see him turn to a Super Saiyan. Come on. But
this is some bullshit, man. Like,
that's a big thing with what I do too.
You know who I would love to join the 2 of you?
I already know who you're going to say. Darius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my trainer that I've known for like 10 years, don't worry, I just went back to him a few months ago. He's not bad at his job. I left him for like 6 years. And then I just went back to him. Sean actually thought I knew that he was proposing because that's how infrequently I had been going to the gym. I had gone back to my trainer. Sean thought that I knew he was proposing. I just wanted to go back. Darius' point of this comment is amazing. He's been on the podcast before. Mm-hmm. The 3 of you would have such a dynamic conversation that I think would be so interesting.
Let's
So
bring him
you
in, man.
three should definitely do that sometime.
Okay, so
Bring him in.
so
Past that, okay, and I know Sean.
rewind it
This is
back.
the fifth time I've done this, Sean. I have to pee again, but
Go pee, man. You're good.
I want to bring up the fact my car's name. This is the first car I've ever had in my life, and I got it after I reconnected with my dad and everything. Blah blah. He hit me up the car. Blah blah. His name is Darius. Funny enough, which is I was like, oh wow, that's fucking funny. But
Fuck.
literally, yeah. But I want to get into this right now. But I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, and
You're
then
good.
if you want to sauce Darius in here, fuck it. I'm like I said, I have nothing to do all day today. So you let me know.
Yes.
Well, then
You let me know.
He has a new baby, so we'll see.
Bring the baby. I have nothing to do. And like I said, this is in terms of like a podcast, this is something I'm genuinely enjoying.
Okay.
Like content wise. So for sure. I'm gonna go take a pee real quick though. I'll be right back.
All right.
It's only 2 questions, and they're not necessarily pertinent to exactly what you do, but I feel like sometimes it can feed into some of the stories that you have in a way. Mm-hmm. So one is, have you ever heard of the drug crocodile?
Yep.
Thoughts?
Exactly what it is. My thoughts?
Yeah.
I think it's fucking insane.
Right.
I feel like it was a little bit more like in like the limelight around like 2015, 2016 time. I think it's absolutely insane. Like any drug like that, like is like that rots your skin from the inside out is insane. And like the fact that it has the addictive quality to it that makes people want to continue to like go towards it is just wild to me. Even after seeing what it does. Yeah, like no, yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane.
And then my other one was, so with the likes of Jeffrey Dahmer, things of that sort, obviously there's unfortunately what I would call like a fentanyl crisis going on that's being sprinkled into pretty much every party drug available, which I also think is showing how many people are still doing party drugs no matter their age. Yeah. Do you think that we're going to start seeing, well, one, what's your opinion on that? And two, do you think we're going to start seeing like a rise of, you know, are we going to have new Jeffrey Dahmers that are getting caught because they're using fentanyl to get their true crimes done?
That's a fucking phenomenal question. Yeah, that's what a good question. Me personally, I believe that I don't think it's going to be an increase just because in the last prior years we've seen a lot of celebrities and stuff like that have passed away because of fentanyl and stuff like that. Mac Miller, Lil Peep, and like a couple people like that have passed away due to fentanyl and everything like that. And it's a very serious like drug. And I want to point this out to people that are watching. There's a thing called Narcan that, quite frankly, reverses the effects of an overdose as well. So if you're watching this podcast, you can get it for free, damn near at any CVS as well.
Yeah, I never knew that. So specifically with this coming out before Halloween and the whole rainbow,
especially before Halloween, exactly.
Everyone should purchase the Narcan from your CVS, your Walgreens, your Rite Aid, your whatever it is where you are. I've heard that every single household should have a few on hand just because you never know. And it's so scary. And like 1 grain of salt of fentanyl can cause major problems. Not to get sad on this.
No, it's not sad. It's very important. It's what people need to know and like they need to understand. So I'm 100% with you. 100%. I don't know where they are. I had like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I had a friend that actually did overdose when I was younger, blah, blah. And then, had I had that at the time, because I was there when the whole thing happened, had I had that at the time, things could have been different. And it's such a simple thing, and it could genuinely reverse the effects of an overdose, and it could just save someone's life. So for me, it's like, it's so important that at least every household just like, I won't even say have multiple, but at least have one. I would urge for 2 to 3 per household. If you can get your hands on it, if you go to CVS, it's free. And that's the thing that people don't get. Like, you can go to a CVS and just get it. And a lot of different CVS's, Walgreens, they're free. I got mine for absolutely free. They didn't charge me anything. Actually, no, I got like some deodorant at the time. But I got charged for deodorant, but not for the Narcan. But
right.
Like it's generally a life-saving thing that can actually help people that are going through that sort of thing. So I urge people who are watching this, understand this, to definitely like go check that out. But do I see a rise in that and see a rise into the point where it'll be like a Jeffrey Dahmer type of case going on?
Obviously an extreme example, but
Yeah, but I still think no, simply because I talked to Sean about this a little bit, probably like 2 hours ago, but
yeah.
it was like we were talking about how he saw a rise, like how like in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, there was like a lot of serial killers, and I told him that, Courtney, what's your favorite sport
My favorite sport to watch or to play?
to watch?
Hockey.
Okay, so hockey. So you know like Sidney Crosby,
Mhm.
Alex Ovechkin, all those guys, right?
Right.
So like in that sort of thing, it's like they've been great for a long, long time, but they're gonna be out of it for a while. But like going through like the 90s, 80s, whatever the case you want to go through, and you'll see people like the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I can't remember his name.
You mean Simone Biles?
No, for hockey, the greatest of all time.
Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky, thank you. You'll see like the Wayne Gretzky's doing stuff that you've never seen before, and you don't really think about it. But I told I was talking to Sean, I was like, you see that, 'cause we were talking about basketball, so I gave like an analogy for that. But for like Wayne Gretzky, like he's leading all time in points in general, which includes assists and scores, but he's leading in scores and assists, and it's like that's insane, obviously. You don't really see that sort of thing, but it's like there was a rise in like serial killers for like the 70s, 80s, 90s who have been through a lot of different things and done a lot of different things. And so it's very odd for us to see it now. But there was a PI or personal investigator or someone that worked with the FBI before, but he's a PI now. And he said that at any point there's 35 to 50 active serial killers in the United States of America, which is insane.
Right.
But we don't hear about them as much. And there was the one that was in Louisiana. There's obviously the Stockton killer that just got caught, and there's like several other ones as well. So my main thought process behind all of that, bringing it back to the question, is that I'm not too sure if we're gonna see more of it. But the thing I told Sean as well was like, we see a lot of killings and stuff like that, but we don't see the demented side of things that we saw with a lot of those earlier cases, like the cannibalism, the dismembering of the bodies, and all that other type of stuff. So I don't know if we're gonna see like a revive of like another person like Jeffrey Dahmer or anything like that, but we might see some rough stuff going forward. But in terms of like fentanyl and all that other stuff, it's like I've seen enough people who have been addicted to it and have gone through enough stuff like that. It's like it's very serious. So
did Sean ask you the sub questions as to like why in the like 70s to the 2000s serial killers were prevalent, but now they're not?
He did not. But
okay.
That's
so do you think that is because we have better forensic evidence now and you just can't get away with it? Do you think it's because we have better mental health? Like it's more okay to get mental health help and kind of get medicated if you need help or things like that? Or do you think just people were crazier then? You know, because it is crazy that there's so many books about, it was called like the serial killer epidemic from the 70s to the 2000s.
Yeah.
And now we don't really have that. Obviously it's happening, but there's got to be a reason why it's not as prevalent.
Again, what a fucking question. That was a great question.
Sorry.
Wow. No, that was a really good question. No, I love it. Keep them coming. But I would say that at the time you'll hear a lot of like cases with like serial killers where it's like they have like a lot of homosexual like qualities and stuff like that. And at the time it was not accepted.
And it wasn't okay. Today. Yeah.
It wasn't okay. Yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer is another one that where they went through that whole thing. But I think that might be a part of it, and the aggression that they felt for not being accepted might be a part of it. There's that. There's and again, mental health wasn't something you could just talk about back then, really.
Right.
To be completely honest, because you would be seen as like part of my French, but you'd be seen as like a pussy or anything like that. Like if you talked about like things like that, like generally like, oh, I don't feel good, like I'm not doing good mentally, like stuff like that, you'd like get those like type of those reactions and set like in general. So I think that might be part of it. And then I don't know if they were as unhinged as we are now. I feel like right now we have the most unhinged people in maybe ever. Just because there's just a lot that goes on. There's a lot of sensitive people on this planet.
One, I know I
But,
gave you an impossible question. I just like hearing people's thoughts on that.
No, yeah, for sure, yeah, and I love the question. That was a great question, so that's why I'm actually thinking about it because that was a really good one.
It's a food for thought.
Yeah, no, I think that has something to do with that. I think it's just like a perspective of like a lot of people who we're a lot more sensitive now. We just have a lot of things that are going on, and then yeah, man, I think that's where I would go with that, and then yeah, the whole conversation was like behind like the sexuality because a lot of serial killers you'll find had like homosexual tendencies and they were not accepted by their families and that transformed into something a lot worse again. So I get where they're coming from with that, but at the same time obviously like the murder's never the answer, but it's
Yeah,
very
I never
interesting.
actually like put two and two together with that. You're
Yeah,
totally right.
it happens a lot, man, and I've always seen that as like a I guess point of emphasis sort of, but
Right.
that's a very good question. That's a fucking phenomenal question for sure. Yeah, that was great for sure.
Back to
Keep
cartoons.
them coming. Keep it
On the
coming,
lighter
man.
side.
No, I mean, what you were asking me about was my job, so like I get it. Like, like that's a good question. That's a phenomenal question.
I was just curious.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to fucking ask me as well too. That was a great question though. Wow, that was I've never been approached about that before. That's really good. A lot of respect for that one.
I can't say I have any other questions because I am pretty toasty right now.
Jeez.
So,
My man's toasted.
yep.
That's what I like to hear, man.
Do you have questions for us?
Ooh.
I mean, we've grilled you, or well, I can only assume, conversationally grilled you. So it's your turn to ask Sean any question you want.
Ask Mr. Sean any question I want.
Like, what is the air like up there?
Yeah, what is the air like up there at 6 foot 8, man? What's that
Same
like?
as it is fucking down there. God damn it.
Is it nice? Is it just like nice just to be taller than everybody else?
I mean,
Don't
it's
lie to
not
me.
bad.
Unless you're traveling.
Traveling less second like roller coasters that has to be asked too.
It's terrible.
I
Oh,
thought-
that's another thing you could add is some roller coaster accidents. Actually, no, those are so dumb and overdone. Don't do that.
I would say I'm curious about them, but I don't like ride roller coasters myself.
Me either.
So
For a
I hate
reason.
them. Exactly. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I just got so comfortable and I'm very happy right now.
So where do you live, Koda? I don't know if you know.
Southern California. I'm in pretty much LA. I'm like 30 minutes from LA right now.
Were you born there?
I was born in Barbados.
Oh, nice. So
Yeah,
how long have you been in LA?
Oh wow. I was born in Barbados till I was 5 years old, or 4.5. And then I went to I moved out here in 2004 or 5, and then I ended up just like kind of chilling out here, just vibing, and then started doing content when I was 19. Well, no, I started when I was 13, to be completely honest. And it was just like bad videos, but I started when I was 13. I kind of went through that. And then once I got to be like 19 years old, I kind of took it more serious. And then things kind of just hit the fan. And I was just.
So that was,
kept going with
what,
it.
3 years ago?
Yeah. Literally, the pandemic was like the biggest thing for me.
That's what I was going to ask you because you said California, LA area. How was that? Because it was pretty intense in that part of the world.
The pandemic was rough around here for sure because there was a lot of people that still left their house and stuff like that. So it was kind of spreading, but the pandemic, us being stuck inside, definitely helped like calm down the spread of like COVID and everything.
Do you feel like kind of helped with what you were doing since you said so? You started when you were 19, so 19 to 22. That's basically the span of when COVID was relatively intense, right? Yeah. So did that give you more time to
absolutely
focus on what you're doing in your craft?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It definitely helped. I got COVID twice actually, which is funny enough.
But both times or fine.
It was
the
first time was whatever. Literally, the first time was whatever, but the second time it was pretty bad. The second time I was like, "Oh my god, this is the worst." But I got it twice, but during COVID, I started posting 6 times a day.
Good for you.
On TikTok, and I was just kind of just going crazy. I didn't really care like what was going on. I was just doing whatever I had to do just to build an audience. 'Cause I knew people were inside, not doing anything on TikTok. So nobody had to work. Nobody was going out to work. We were stuck inside. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna post these videos and do what I have to do. And it worked out very well. And I was able to get 2 million, or I was able to get 1 million followers there. And then I took a break during 2021. I told Sean about that. And then I came back in 2022 early. And then I was just posting consistently. And then I kind of took breaks here and there. And then once it got to August, I started posting every single day. And I went from 2.1 or 2.2 million up to 2.7. So
It's impressive. One thing I did notice on your videos, and I don't know if this is intentional or if just because sometimes one thing I hate about TikTok is that you have to like scroll to the next one and it won't just go to the next one.
yes.
What I did notice on yours is that when your video loops, it's like an intentional loop and it actually makes sense. So like the way you end your video kind of blends into the beginning of your video.
Yeah.
Is that intentional or is that it just happens?
Oh, it's absolutely intentional.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's actually something I've never seen someone do from all the people that I do follow.
Yeah.
So basically when he finishes the end of his segment, it then almost like sounds like he just intentionally started to say the same sentence, which I think is really cool.
It took me a while to figure out how to do it properly, but basically, like the easiest way I can describe it is about water real quick. The easiest way I could describe it is that when I start my videos, like recording wise, I start from the second sentence.
Okay.
And then I end my videos with the first sentence, if that makes any sense at all.
I think it's genius.
Yeah, and it'll loop around, and then a lot of people don't realize, like, oh, this is the same video, like, half the time.
Well, yeah, because if you're not paying attention and you're not, actively scrolling, so sometimes I'll watch TikTok while I brush my teeth because heaven forbid I spend a moment in silence, not hearing Koda talk about unsettling facts or things that could save my life or
we love it. We love that.
But that's when I noticed it because sometimes my hands are busy and I'm like, wait, it sounds like he's just telling me a story and I just now realized it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's a way to keep people on your page, which I think is really smart.
Yeah. So I tend to do that and then kind of loop around just like everything that I'm doing. And then all my videos have like loops within them. So it kind of just keeps going, which is good. You're really good at asking questions. I've kind of come to realize because
Courtney for nothing.
I was about to say, I hope you keep going because these are questions I've never answered before, and I know my audience would really love to hear.
Well, I always come with a caveat of if you don't want to answer anything that we ask, don't answer it. That's okay.
But the thing is, I have no problem answering any of these questions. You and Sean have both done an amazing job from like the jump of this. So like for me, it's like I hope, like I said, I hope you both keep coming with the questions like right now because like.
Good.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's also like a lot of the questions you're asking me are like these are questions I've never like exposed to my audience like at all whatsoever. So it's like this is really cool, just to be completely honest, because I've never talked about any of these things before. That's really cool.
Right.
That's tough.
I'm glad.
I'm really glad I took this pod, man. This has been a very positive. This has been amazing. This is really good. I'm really happy with you guys, man. I'm really happy with this. I've done so many pods before. I just hate it. This has been really, really tight.
Yeah,
and it's a lot. It's just been a lot of questions that I've never got before, and that's been a lot of like Sean's been like taking like an initiative, just like I want to talk about like DC comics or like fucking Marvel comics, just like oh whatever, like cartoons or whatever it is. It's like oh yeah, and we just talked about it for like fucking 45 minutes, and this has been great. So this
Did
is
he
really
tell
cool.
you where the upside down Spider-Man came from?
No, I didn't.
So my niece used to spend the night with me all the time when she was younger.
Yes.
The only thing, obviously, niece, female, the only thing that would she started spending the night with me when she was probably like 1.5, probably too young. The only thing that would make her go to sleep was this Spider-Man stuffed animal. She's 10 now. She has graciously now gifted it to Sean. It was a whole thing. We had to do like a surrendering of the Spider-Man, basically. But now, like anytime I send her behind the scenes photos of the podcast, she feels like super cool and can like tell her friends.
That's
Cool.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I
Yeah.
have a niece myself. My brother's your guys' age. She's 31 or 30. He's about to be 32 on Christmas Eve, like I told you about. But he has a niece. She's 5. He has a niece that's 5. He has a nephew that's.
Do
don't
we
tell
mean
me.
son and daughter?
3. Yeah, it's.
Or
Oh,
nieces?
I have a niece. Sorry, I have a niece that's 5. I have a niece that's my bad. Sorry, I have a niece that's 5. I have a niece that's 3, and I have a nephew that's, or a niece is 5, a nephew that's 3, and a nephew that's 1.
Yeah.
And they're like all like it's like their personalities are so different, but it's really cool.
So
Like,
are
it's
they
like
in Barbados
weird.
or are they where you are?
They're here. Yeah, they're here too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're probably like 30 minutes away. Yeah. So I see them
Oh,
all the
that's
time, which
awesome.
is amazing. Yeah. But it's really cool. It's really cool, man. But it was like it's like a weird level of love that you have for like your niece / nephew, just because it's like you can fuck around with them and like party with them as much as you want. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
once they're like start to like act up because they're tired, you just give them right back to their
Hand them
parents.
back. Yeah.
It's just great. It's just the best. It's just the best. Yeah, absolutely. This is the absolute
So
best.
being the oldest one in the room at the moment, I do have a lot of friends that have, kids from 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And I'll invite them, like, I'll have, like, some came to look at our Halloween decorations the other night, and Sean like, I can see in the back of his mind, he's like, why are you doing this? Why are there literally crazy children at our house? But it's because you just hand them back. I get my baby fix, you hand them back, we're all good.
Exactly, man. That's why whoever I end up with, and I'm probably gonna be the same way, just because like, oh, I got a baby, I'm happy. I don't want them anymore. Here you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, it's so nice though. Like they're so fun and loving, and then when they start freaking out and it's bedtime, you're like, bye.
It's like go to your mom. Have fun.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. What else do you have, Courtney? I'm very interested. This is you giving me a couple good questions. Or Sean too. I know
I
Sean's
do
a
have
little
another random question.
toasted.
This is one you'll
Ask me.
definitely probably not
Ask
have
me.
had before. Do you determine the lighting based on the story you're telling, or how? So you've got pink and some turquoise going on right now, and you've got red in previous videos. Do you select it by what your mood is? Is it by the story? Is it by what you're talking about, or is it personal?
Again, what the fuck? Great
I'm a very
question.
observant person.
A great question. Yes, I absolutely do determine what I'm talking about based off of my lighting.
Mm-hmm.
What
it makes a difference. It's noticed.
That's a fucking phenomenal question. Yes, 100%. So typically for me, when I'm talking about, like, if I'm talking about like a true crime case or whatever the case is, like, it'll be like this. It'll be like the red and like the pink, because those are like my main colors that I normally use. And it'll be like a red and like a pink and whatever, blah blah. That's what I'll talk about when I'm like talking about like the Stockton killer, whatever I'm talking about at the time. If I'm talking about like a true like an unsettling fact video, it'll be 1 second. Damn, there we go. When I talk about like unsettling facts, I'll try to keep it like purple and like green for sure. Because it's like a little bit it's less dark than what I'm like typically talking about. That's a really good question. Wow. No, yeah, I absolutely use the lighting to reflect what I'm talking about and like what I'm doing like in my videos for sure. Because the purple and red is like those are like my colors just for what I like typically use for just in general, like branding everything. Purple and red are like the normal ones.
Right.
But if I'm talking about like a scary video, a true crime case or whatever, it'll be purple or red. And then when I'm talking about like unsettling facts, it'll be like blue and green or whatever it is. And you can see that through like my entire page. That's a real wow. That's really impressive. I've never been talked to about that like ever.
But I think that's one of the things that does make you so successful is while people may not realize that's what's happening.
Yeah.
There is like a separate type of captivation based on what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I agree. That's fucking okay. That was good. That was good. That was really good. I like that. That was a really good question.
I'm glad.
What a fucking question. I like that a lot.
It's the little things I tell you.
That was great. No, keep going. No, what the fuck? That was great. That was a really good question.
Full of questions. My old roommate is the one that coined the Curious Courtney concept.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I'm less like that out in public now because, you know, I just can rely on Sean because at this point in my life, I'm like, if I don't really want to make small talk, I'm not going to. Similar to if I weren't enjoying your company or super interested in this conversation, there's no way in hell I would be sitting here with no makeup and looking this way.
Okay.
But, you know, I specifically was very excited for this podcast, though.
She was.
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
she was.
yeah. Sean, the whole beginning of this thing went absolutely crazy, so I
Yeah.
love it.
I can't wait to hear it.
Sean killed it. Oh no, me and Sean we were having a great convo this whole conversation, man. It was
Our friend
great.
Darius said he is putting his little one down, so I doubt he can make it this time. But
Once the little one's down, he can hop in here, right?
that's what I texted him, and I was like, I mean, if you want me to show up for training tomorrow, then you better get on this podcast.
What time
That's how that
what
goes.
time you gotta go in?
After.
Ah,
So have you been to London before? Speaking of Jack the Ripper.
No, I've never been to London before.
Okay, so a lot of my job, which I will not necessarily like talk in detail about here, I am a paid assassin. I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, huh? I was about to say,
worked a lot
what?
with London, so I spent a lot of time there ever since I was little. I work in an industry that I came into, like I'm in an insurance industry, but I work a lot with London. I remember for example, I have a bunch of people from London in town for me this week, but usually I'm the one in the UK. When I was younger, I hated anything scary. I hated it, scared me to death. If it was Halloween, and this shows my age, if the radio was on and I was like 10 years old in my bedroom,
Ooh, the radio?
and it was like a haunted house commercial, I had to turn it off. I couldn't handle it. The first scary movie I ever saw was Nicole Kidman with The Others. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah.
So when I was like 9 years old, maybe 10, I was in the UK with my parents. We went to something called the London Dungeon, where they strongly profile Jack the Ripper, bringing it back to what I brought this up for. But on the outside of it, it said, if your child is under the age of, I think it was like 16, we are not responsible for them. Like if they freak out, it's your problem. Whole disclaimer thing. I spent the entire time with my face in my dad's chest because the whole thing was about Jack the Ripper, basically. And I vividly remember being 10 years old in a room where it was completely lit on fire, where they show him basically a simulation of him slashing people's stomachs, you know, because that's what he did.
Yeah.
And then like there was this whole like bloody canoe thing. I don't know. It was terrifying. My point in telling you this is there's an entire place called London Dungeon where they focus on other things, but the primary focus is Jack the Ripper. And you have to go if you do your whole thing at some point.
I'm so down. Absolutely.
And it is truly terrifying. It's very strange. I love anything scary, but I like to be the puppeteer. Over my dead body, can you pay me to go to a haunted house? No way. Won't go.
What? No, I'm absolutely down to check
But
that
you
out.
should
That sounds really cool. I
Yeah.
would love to do that. That sounds so sick.
And it's very iconic. And they show you like the old like London torture chamber stuff as well.
Yeah. No, I'd be down for that for sure. Absolutely. That sounds sick. Anything else, or is Sean gonna wrap this up?
I think we're probably gonna wrap it up because
Crazy, baby.
I am fucking hammered right
Oh
now.
my gosh.
So I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you right now. I am. I probably drank too much, and yeah, that's about it. It's hard for me to even have a thought. So,
Oh boy.
you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna have Courtney in this podcast.
Nope.
So what we're gonna do is
Yes.
what you need to say is
Peace. That's what he does.
yes. I mean, I could probably say it, but it would be better if you
What
did
is it?
because you're never here. But
Oh, jeez.
Koda, we
Yep,
appreciate you being here.
we appreciate
Everything that
you.
you're doing is fucking phenomenal. You're making every psycho in the US and, you know, even potentially some people that are overseas. I don't know how many people overseas are hearing you talk about, you know, fucking Richard Ramirez or
A lot.
the Stockton fucking douchebag.
Do you
or-
do many overseas things though? You could talk about, you know,
I do
Another-
actually. I do
That could be
sometimes.
another
Yeah.
episode.
The UK is my second biggest audience. They have like
Yeah,
But I mean-
17%
but I
of
mean
my audience.
stories about non-American serial killers.
Oh yeah, not as much. I should though, for sure.
I've never even researched that myself, but I'm sure there are plenty.
Oh yeah, there's a lot for sure.
every woman that's hearing this right now is so fucking wet.
No, I don't know if that's what happens, but
It's funny. That's what fucking happens because whenever females hear true crime, they're like, "What?" And they're like, "My area is
No.
fucking flooded."
not
So,
true. However, I do have to tell you before we go, one year I did go as a serial killer for Halloween, but
There you go.
it was boxes of cereal with blood on them. So that's all it was.
Oh, I gotcha.
with all that being said,
Yeah.
myself, Courtney, and all of my viewers and yourself, all of your viewers, whatever, I'm hammered. I appreciate you getting on. It's been a fucking pleasure, and I would love to be able to meet you one day and fucking whatever, you know? So
Absolutely, man. I'm down for sure.
until next time, everybody, y'all have a good one and enjoy your fucking Halloween. Because if you don't, then well, that's on you, motherfucker.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Peace.